So when I was contacted recently about one of my friends getting a really cool PC that they didn't really want, of course I was interested. Because this computer, from the sounds of it, has a bit of a story to it. I had a friend get a computer, from the sounds of it, from a hoarder's house. So of course I wanted to open it up, investigate it, see if it worked and everything. So of course, I had to go pick it up off of them. Here's me going to get the box from them. Okay, what have we... Oh, the box is folded down.
Yeah, it was. When I got it.
Stunning. Oh, it is a GTX 1060. Oh, okay.
Keyboard.
Wonderful. Got the machine, keyboard.
It's stuck in there from everything.
Yeah. Hold on, let's see what I can pull out. DVI, Ethernet, lots of different cables. Power cable, stunning. Any idea if the machine itself works?
No idea.
Okay, stunning.
I've not plugged it in. I've not looked at it. The only thing I've done is take the storage out and then put it back in after.
Stunning.
To make sure I knew what it was.
Wonderful. And do you want to talk about at all how you got your hands on the machine?
So my brother-in-law went to a hoarding house and cleaned it out with his family, and they, got a handful of goodies and found this and asked me if I wanted it because they thought it was this PC case.
Thermaltake H17 Versa.
Which is similar to the one that I have.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Not a bad case by any means.
But no, it turned out to be a pre-built.
Yeah.
And so as I'm opening this box, pull this out, I'm thinking, whoa,
GTX 1060.
I'm gonna be able to upgrade my graphics card, and they pull out this old piece of pre-built.
Yeah. Whoopsie doopsie. Well, hopefully we can get it working, and hopefully with a few upgrades we can have a half decent gaming machine. So I've officially got the box here. Got a keyboard here, which doesn't feel like a great one, but it should do the trick. Wireless. And it does have the dongle in the back here, just tucked in there. Power cable, a box for a GTX 1060. We don't see a GTX 1060 in there though. Let's quickly fold that back to normal. GTX 1060 box built up. I do actually collect these, so that's quite nice. An Ethernet coupler. This isn't a splitter, this is a coupler. You can only have one of these two plugged in and that, which essentially extends it. You can't split it across two, it's dumb, but anyway. And then we've got the main one itself. The PC, the pre-built. Let's get it out of the box. So here's the machine itself. It is an Acer Aspire running AMD A10 and Radeon graphics. Not a bad looking machine. Let's see if it's got any info on it. It does TC220, Windows 10, AMD A10. Okay, quad core. 16 gigs of memory, 2 terabytes. Probably needs an SSD, that's not bad. Let's flick her open and see what we can find inside. Opening up the machine. It's got a wimpy little graphics card. There's no way that's a 1060. 4-pin power. Cool Master CPU cooler. 16 gigs of memory. Weird sized DVD drive by the looks of it up the top there. Got the hard drive tucked in there. Which that one I know is 2 terabytes for sure. That one definitely hasn't been switched. Because as Bass said, he pulled it out. But apart from that, I don't know anything for certain. I know what it tells me on the side. But that full well could be wrong. So what I'm going to do is plug it into power and see if I can get it to post it all. And we'll see if it even works. Okay, so the PC is plugged into power, HDMI, everything. So let's hit this power button on the front. Whoa. Chill out, buddy. Oh, indicator light. We also got a bip. Hey! We get an output. This computer seems like it's posting and working. I'm probably inevitably going to end up clearing the hard drive, but let's see if we can get into Windows. So it is up and running with Windows, but it's also got things like a password. I'm not going to be able to get into it, sadly. So what I'm going to do is wipe the hard drive, chuck an SSD into it, and do a little bit of testing. So I've so far discovered one issue with this PC. I can't get it to boot into anything else, because it's an Acer pre-built. It won't accept my Windows boot device. Because of BIOS settings. It won't go to UEFI, so the BIOS won't let it happen. So what I'm having to do is use an application called Rufus to try and make a Windows boot device that it will recognize, and then go from there. So while the machine itself is working, actually getting it to have Windows is going to be the hard bit. Okay, with that, it has finally recognized it. I had to do some formatting and whatnot, but now if I go save and exit, yes, I should be able to download Windows from there. I'm going to have to do a little bit more formatting with the actual SSD itself, but I can do that from the Windows download. On the Windows installer, I've now done some stuff with command prompt, which means that I've essentially used disk part to reformat the disk to GPT, which means that this machine should accept it, and I should now be able to successfully install Windows. I'll see how it goes. The machine is now very much up and running with Windows, finally, and here we go. even though it says quad core, it's actually 2 cores, 4 threads. This was a really annoying naming convention. It's not really around today. A lot of old computers will say 4 cores when it's 4 threads, 2 cores, which means the performance is a fair bit lower than I thought it was going to be, but oh well. Still a half decent speed though, and integrated graphics. 16 gigs of DDR3, AMD Radeon R7 340. Honestly, when I thought it was quad core, I thought I'd need to upgrade the graphics card, but this is already a pretty balanced system since it's only 2 cores. If anything, I'd almost take out some of the RAM. There's no harm in having the RAM there, but I can better use it on other projects. But let's do some testing. I'm going to boot up 3D Mark and see how that goes. Let's run both TimeSpy and the CPU profile. Let's start with TimeSpy. Okay, I'm very clearly not very familiar with the graphics card, my lord. So let's chuck in something a bit stronger. I'm going to chuck in something not absurd, but a little bit stronger, a GTX 1050. So the fan is being loud, but I've discovered one thing. If you hit it, it stops being loud. It eventually starts back up again, but if you just hit it again, it stops. I've officially chucked a 1050 Ti in there because it doesn't have power requirements and there's no 6 or 8 pin in there. There's now a GTX 1050 in there, which should be a lot better. The dodgy fan is definitely the power supply, but this is the old fan. Don't touch. The R7 340. 2 GB. It's one of those cards that only have like half the lane used. So I'm going to try and download some drivers and try again with 3D Mark. Okay, that's much better a result. So far what I've been able to deduct to this is, even though there was graphics card boxes and whatnot in there, this is pretty much a stock standard pre-built. I'm surprised how good a condition it's in though. It does need dusting, but barely any. Let's go try the CPU test. Testing is now done from the CPU profile. Not a bad score. But, well, let's see how it actually performs in games. Okay, so I've got Portal 2 running on it, and it's running pretty well. Oh, there I go. All things considered, the game is actually running pretty well. Like, 100 frame rate minimum, 240 average. It's very playable on a game like Portal 2. The RAM is definitely able to be downgraded. It doesn't need 16 gigs. And this one is CPU bottlenecked, though I think that would be a different story if we still had the old GPU in there. The old GPU was very much not a gaming one. I'm surprised just how maintained of just a basic office PC this is. Next we've got Half-Life 2. For some reason it doesn't want to go above 50 FPS, but it looks like it's not struggling at all. CPU and GPU are both at like 20%. It could easily run higher. I've now got a game that's a bit more intensive, like Assassin's Creed Unity. Now the CPU is most definitely the bottleneck here. And while we have officially gone over 8 gigs, I would still probably switch it to 8 gigs on the computer. Because the GPU, while it's breaking a sweat now, the CPU is very much the bottleneck. It's getting about 30 FPS, which is playable. And you can probably turn down the settings for a little bit more FPS, but it's not great. And with that, the computer has been tested. I'm surprised this was an abandoned computer. This was in a box for Young. So I'm surprised just how well it's kept. There's a little bit of dusting that needs to be done, but apart from that, it's in pretty good condition. It's by no means a strong computer, I'd like to clarify. While it can game, or we've seen it can game, I wouldn't recommend it as a gaming PC. But definitely an interesting case study. Oh well. As computers have gotten newer and newer, so have the restrictions. If I got an older pre-built than this one, I would have never had to do the drive formatting, all that sort of stuff. Which is alarming. Things are getting so anti-consumer nowadays, and I really don't like it. But what can you do? I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and comment the weirdest computer you've ever found. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.